Hey guys, Travis here. Excuse my voice. I'm just getting. Excuse me. And there we go. Excuse my voice. I'm just getting over a bit of a hay fever, cold, whatever have you. Today I'm going to be talking about the skills you need to be a professional wrestling ring announcer or a professional fight announcer. I've been part of professional wrestling since the age of 16. Everybody knows my story, how I got into it, why I got out of it, and all that good stuff. But you know, you definitely need some skills to be an announcer, to be an announcer anything, commentary, announcing in the ring, it doesn't really matter. You know, there's been some great announcers over the years. I mean, in professional wrestling, you know, you've had Howard Finkel in TNA, my personal favorite, Jeremy Borash. In the fight world, you've had Michael Buffer, Bruce Buffer, and my personal favorite, Leanne Hart. If you don't know who Leanne Hart is, look her up. She's Lenneharddt. She was also known as the Screaming Pride Lady. She was the one who always did the announcements in Pride Fighting Championships over in Japan, and she had a voice and an enthusiasm when it come to announcing that really is never going to be rivaled. And today, Bruce Buffer tries very, very hard to try to live up to that, and he cannot do it. Bruce Buffer is not as good as his brother Michael, and he is definitely not as good as Leanne Hart. UFC, if you're watching this, which I pray to God you are, do us all a favor and get Leanne Hart to do the announcements, please. I mean, she's a great girl, she's a great woman, I love her to death, and she's one of my biggest, go away. She's one of my biggest icons when it comes to announcing. How I got into announcing was when I was 16. I wanted to start paying my dues in professional wrestling. I made a few phone calls, made a few emails, and I got in contact with Style Steve Jackson, who was a friend of mine until, just like all friendships and relationships, sometimes the end and all that good stuff. And he said, come on in for a tryout. So sure enough, went in, had a tryout, and I was the junior ring announcer for CEW and CW at the time. Went to Mainstream Wrestling Entertainment, did some shows for them, pretty much getting my name out there in the independent wrestling circuit from Nova Scotia, and when they came here to Newfoundland, been promoter, announcer for them, and now I'm trying to work my way up to commentator. Went to the new CEW, which opened up, and I left. I did the main announcements for them until the story happened, and I got very sick and seizure, and everybody wants to say I brought it on myself, but maybe I did, maybe I didn't. All I know is I had a seizure in the ring, and I don't remember anything about that show. That's why I left, and I got fired, and whatever have you. Then now I'm trying to get back into wrestling again, one way, shape, or another. And but I tell you what, the big skills you need to have is you need to have this, you need to have this, and you need to have this: head, heart, and voice. And what I mean is, you can't be nervous in the ring, and another thing is you can't be boring. I mean, if you look up the old WCCW World Class Championship Wrestling, back down in Texas with the Von Erichs, you had their announcer. I mean, to me, what is going to give you more excitement? I mean, the biggest thing for an announcer is you got to give tribute to the athletes. You got to give tribute to the wrestlers and the fighters because it's their time to shine. And really, what is going to get the fans more excited? The announcer from WCCW going, from Lake Dallas, Texas, weighing in at 280 pounds, the immortal Fritz Von Erich. Yeah, that's going to get the fans going back in the day. Why? Because they like the Von Erichs. But what's going to get, I mean, if I go like this and then talk like that, that ain't going to get the fans going. But if I come up with like for instance, if I go for a hometown boy, and I'll just give you an example here. If I give an announcement, if I was to go to say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest for this evening, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. If I really just project my voice, and I scream, and especially if it's a well-known person, I mean, and not only that, don't be afraid to use, certainly, to use accents. I mean, one of my favorite announcements I used to do was when we had a wrestler by the name of Joseph Von Schmidt when he came to Grand Falls, Windsor. And Joseph Von Schmidt is a friend of mine, and he was from Berlin, Germany. As character, but he lives down in Connecticut. Oh dear, I may not have said that, but oh well. I would go from Berlin, Germany, Joseph Von Schmidt. You just got to, don't let fear overcome you, and like The biggest thing I like to tell all students of acting and whatever else, just look into the microphone, look at the card, look up, and just don't be... Look at the entrance. Don't even worry about the fans. Don't even worry about things that are going on around you, what the fans are going to might be thinking of you, because really, it shouldn't bother you. You shouldn't bother you what the fans want to say about you and everything else like that. The biggest thing you need to worry about is getting the announcement on paper and being exciting. I mean, Leanne Hart used to go, Vanderlei Silva! She was absolutely crazy, and she had no fear of doing it, because that was her way of going on for the athletes. And everybody's got their own style of announcing. I mean, Jeremy Borash got his own style of announcing. Michael Buffer, Bruce Buffer. You got to find your own niche. But the thing is, you got to make it exciting for the fans. That is the number one thing. If they're going to be excited, I mean, if I give a big pop for a babyface, then they know that they're going to like this guy and that I should cheer for this guy. But, for instance, if I was to go from parts unknown, Psycho Mitch. If I was to go like that and know that this guy, oh my God, this guy's going to be a beast. He's going to come out. He's wearing a mask. He's a heel. He's a monster. He's somebody that needs to be feared. Then the fans are going to hear that in your voice and they're going to know it. You're telling a story with your voice. And not even by telling everybody, you know, all right, this is Psycho Mitch. He's the CEW North Atlantic champion. He's big, he's strong, he's ugly, he's scary, he's a heel. He's somebody that needs to be hated and feared. You know, you don't get the chance to say that in your announcement. You just got a few little words that you need to get across, and it's the tone of your voice. If I was to put over somebody like a big baby face, it's going to be loud and full of good expressions. But if it's a heel, like for Crimson or Cowboy Mike Hughes, or for Psycho Mitch or somebody like that, or Hellraiser Justin Locke. If like for instance, if you were to like put over somebody like Mark Henry, you know, Mark Henry, who's a big heel right now in the WWE. What are you going to do? You're going to make it all happy and everything like that? Oh, Mark Henry's come to save the day? No, you're going to put that down in your voice and make it very deep and make it very intimidating with your voice, knowing, okay, Mark Henry's coming, or the Shield is coming. Now shit's going to hit the fan, and you know things are going to happen. So that's the main thing you got to realize when it comes to all you people out there who want to be announcers. If you want to be an announcer, go for it. But you also got to remember, you got to use your head, you got to use your heart, and you got to use your voice in certain things. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a great singer or a great entertainer. You just got to have the passion for the business, like I do, and you've got to have, or like many other announcers do, and you've got to put your voice as your ultimate tool. Yeah, you might feel a little scratchy the next day after, but you know you've done the right thing because you're entertaining the people with your voice and you're getting them excited for the wrestlers. So pretty much what you're doing is you're putting the wrestlers over with your voice, letting the fans know, cheer this guy or boo this guy, love this guy, hate this guy, you know, rejoice in this guy or fear this guy. So that's what you've got to do, and that is the one thing I've always tried to do on the mic, because your mic is your tool. Your cards are your script, and the ring is your stage. The only thing you've got to do is just be yourself, express yourself, and give honor to the athletes. That's the main thing you've got to do as an announcer, whether it be in fighting or whether it be in professional wrestling, or, to tell you the truth, even in darts. Even in darts, they got a good announcer. I mean, it's things like that that you really need passion for, and you can't be afraid in front of people. That's the main thing. Because if they see that you've got the jitters, like it happened to me, then things are just not going to work out for you. But that's my lesson for the day. To be a good announcer, head, heart, voice. I'm Travis Walsh, and that's the way it is.